Wrong one. So I know I'm looking a little sullen here. Only because it took me 5 minutes to do that. And I don't know if it's live yet. Not yet. Okay. I think I'm back. I'm not seeing it here. Okay, there we go. So my service went out, you guys. And it's still acting a little iffy. So I'm gonna try to get through this and not do a whole lot of talking because I don't want it to cut off on me again. Because if I do, I may have to upload a video, and that was the problem before because the service is acting a little funky. It was taking me like 24 hours to do it. So, but if I don't, y'all know I got you. It's just y'all not gonna see the video until tomorrow. Anyway, so we have a double inside week here on the NASDAQ, and so I'm really looking for a nice push down through for tech, mostly because the candles here are not telling me that they're going to go up. What it kind of did last week was it stayed inside this week, and it faked us out a little bit thinking it was going to go up, but it still could not. Made a lower high, and that was your confluence to know that prices still want to go lower. So looking at it on the daily, it's an ugly little shoulder here, but it's still a shoulder nonetheless, where the bear stepped in kind of right where they needed to and rejected it down. So now looking to see if it's going to continue down. And you know, when I was looking at it, well, I'll show you more on SPY because this is not as great, but this is somewhat a bear flag. See that? So looking to see if it's going to drop through there and continue down. Now, I was saying I was looking for 420 on SPY. That is way down here at the 200 for NASDAQ to get down here to this 13.9 a day would be a lot. But that if we do have a hard sell-off like we know can happen, then that's what I'm going to be looking for. Also, we do have this gap down here. So remember with the NASDAQ, you want to look at tech to see if it has more weakness, which we will see shortly, to see if it can support the NASDAQ going down like that. All right, then you have the Dow. So the Dow kind of looks similar. It almost did an outside week and didn't finish. So, you know, we look for those to finish the next week. So if it does, then it can come on down to this 343.70. And again, you kind of have the same thing here where it hit that high and it's made lower highs since then. So we're still somewhat bearish for the short term, at least for the rest of September. Looking at it on the daily, it's not really doing a lot, kind of hugging these EMAs, and they're tight together. What you want to look for is for it to break to the downside. These EMAs will turn down, and then you can possibly target this 200 down here, this 339. Alrighty, and then IWM. So IWM, I want to go up to our 2 week. It was on our 2 week list for this shooter to move down. Now remember, we are still targeting this 182, 181-ish area. For IWM, it is taking its sweet time getting down here. As you can see, for this week, it did not do a whole lot. So there's no actionable signal here. But come on. There we go with the service again. And it's, come on. It is again sitting at the 200. So this is really a good example of bears and bulls being having a battle, basically, because they are battling right now at the 200, but because we are for the most part under it, the bears are winning. This is a clear head and shoulders. You're in the shoulder, here's your head, you're in the shoulder. And I mean, they defended this. Sometimes your shoulders will be like this. They defended this perfectly. Your shoulders are like literally like my shoulders. So the top of that is going to be that 186.19. The bottom of that is going to be that 182 strong support. This thing breaks 182. Good night. All right, we can at least see it come down here to fill this gap, possibly at this 176.25. And, you know, I was talking about this smaller head and shoulders. There's a larger head and shoulders right there. All right, so even with this pop, it popped a little bit above the shoulder area, but not really. Just filled this gap, not filled this gap, but came up to this gap area and still rejected. So it's a larger head and shoulders that really makes me think we're gonna come back down to this 176.44. Of course, that's gonna put us back into this chop area right here. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for with IWM. The Qs, also we have a double inside week here with the Qs again. So this is looking like NASDAQ. It's kind of the same thing. We are looking for an inside week breakdown. We have this larger shoulder, head, shoulder. It almost faked us out and made us think that this shoulder wasn't going to be valid, but the bear stepped in right where they needed to, and it has not been able to get up there since. So this is another shoulder area. This is really chopped. If y'all really look at it from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, remember how I said at the beginning of last video, because that one got cut off, and hopefully my folks will come back, but it was really chopped. You had a good day Tuesday, and then you had a good day Friday, but the rest of the week was mostly chopped. And we know that because it was a double inside week. So again, unless you know how to trade the range, these have been, stay out of it. Of course, that also means for the 2 week, you got an inside bar. So maybe next week when we do our 2 week setups, we might have an inside breakdown. Hopefully it don't take that long. Triple inside week would be a lot. But look, this is the last time the Qs had a double inside week. All right, with a double inside red week, because this was not quite a shooter, not quite a gravestone doji, but I mean the doji nonetheless. And you can tell that it was kind of like the bulls were in control here. This is where you saw the shift, and then it came down. Okay, so yeah, the bulls have been in control. We kind of shifted here. They tried, we're still above the 50, the 30. Like, for us to really have an elevator down, we would need to be like in a bear market, and we're not in a bear market right now. So this is just really a corrective wave. You can do something like take your weekly and fib it from the last lowest point. I mean, you honestly could possibly use this point or even this point. Let's do that. Let's do it from the October run. Okay, so even with this retracement, we've only retraced 23%. 38% would give us the 200. So we might not even retrace 50%. But again, this is why I'm looking for correction, because ultimately we do want to hit these highs, right? In order for us to do that, we can't go straight up. So we need some type of corrective activity to keep going. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. My coffee is not working this morning. All right, so that's what we're looking for with the Qs, with SPY. So SPY was giving us the double inside week like the Qs, but it switched up and it slightly took out the previous week's high and gave us a rev strat setup. Beautiful rev strat setup where the bears took control and kind of ended in control. So I am looking for this to at minimum go to this 440. 443 is the level that it's struggling at right now, and honestly it struggled here a lot. You can see this. I mean, I'm looking at it on the weekly right now, but you can see this right here where it was a resistance previously and then it became a support. Support. So, you know, it could gap down through there overnight and leave that in the dust, and then we could see this 440. Okay, and then you'll see why I'm saying 420. Well, it's 425 now. When I was looking at it before, it was 420. But it's 425 now. So that's really only about $18. Am I mathing right? Yes, it's about $18 away. Easy to do in 2 weeks. So I'm definitely thinking that that can happen. Also, you have this, not quite an M, but it is a head and shoulders. See your shoulder here? Now this is the fake out that I was really talking about. This Thursday fake out where after a really choppy week, this was ugly. Monday, Tuesday, you had a little something but nothing. Wednesday, you thought, okay, we're doing something. If y'all look at this, in strat terms, we are in inside week. That's why for the chop, right? If you want to look at it pattern wise, which is another way, and these are the multiple confluences that I'm telling y'all about. Pattern wise, you're in the shoulder. That equals chop, okay? EMA wise, you're in between 3 EMAs right here. So this right here, you don't want to trade. You like to trade it when it has broken away from the EMAs in either direction. But when it's in between, it's a decision time. This is a fight. It's a chop. Something you stay out of. So it broke above and, you know, kind of fake people out. It really just hit what Jay in our Discord will call a supply zone. And then it rejected the next day. But it could not get above 451. All right. Let's look at this on the hourly really quickly. Because I just want to show what we were looking at. So when we were looking at it, start this week here. This is Friday. Yeah, no, this is Monday. Okay. So this is how it started. Okay, so remember, we're inside week. You're looking at this on the hourly, right? All right, here's Monday. We are still inside of last week. We are looking to see if we're going to fill this gap, okay? Because we gapped up Monday, but did not quite fill the gap. Okay, so you're seeing what it's going to do here, if it's going to fill the gap, or if it's going to fill this bottom gap. You got 2 gaps. So Monday you're waiting, it's choppy. Tuesday is the day I told you we had a somewhat trend day. Came down, filled this gap, came back up, gapped up, came to fill this gap, but all day it struggled to get up. It struggled, and then it hit 451, immediately came back in. Okay, the next day it could not push above. Now this happened at open after that 8:30 drop. But when you look at it, if you look at it with, you know, pre-market lines on, you will see that it was not able to really break above and hold. So once you saw that it started moving to the downside, you knew, okay, yeah, we have more downside. Hey TF, thank you for coming back. I lost service, so yeah, I was sitting here like for a good 10 minutes. I don't know if y'all even saw that, but yeah. So that was SPY. And yeah, that was SPY. Apple. So we were looking at Apple last week because Apple gave us an outside week. Now, if I'm not mistaken, on the month, no, is it the quarter? Well, we only have 2 weeks of quarter left. Maybe it was a 2 week I was looking at. It could still trigger this 2 week down, which is 172 is going to be our our support here. But we were wondering if it was going to do a 3-2. Now remember, a 3 is a new broadening formation for the most part. So we want to see if this is going to broaden. Also on the weekly, you see here, it's in between these EMAs. A good breakdown would be great. We still have a lot of room over here, people we can take out. And if you fit it, once again, I tell y'all to do. You see we're hanging out at 23%. We can get down to this 38 or even this 50. So I'm still looking for a little more downside with Apple. And then on the daily, a strong support may be here at this 172.08. So if it wants to like have a small bounce there, if you look to the left, you see it's been a strong support. For the most part, it was right here. And this is also a chop area. So this is also a shoulder. So it could shoulder here. And then we had, that was our inside week. Then we may have that 312 down. That can give us Apple coming down to this 200. All right. Even if it does come up and fill this gap though, At 181, it's still in a shoulder area. This entire area right here will be your shoulder. That's your head. This is your